So I wanted to talk about tuning a little bit, just for a minute. You may recall from last time that we have four notes on our strings that we have to tune our instrument to in order to play the right things. If our instrument is out of tune, then all the chords that we play are going to sound wrong. Those notes from left to right on the strings are G, C, E, and A. And if you remember last time, we came up with the mnemonic Garfield can eat apples, or good children eat apple pie, or whatever you want to make up. Now we use what's called a tuner to help us tune it to the correct note. And there's different kinds of tuners. These are just some examples here. This is the most common type of tuner over here on the left. This is called the snark tuner. But essentially they all look basically the same. Now you can also get a tuner on your phone, like a tuner app on your phone for free. As a matter of fact, I believe I may have one here. Let me see if I've got something. I haven't been on this device in a little while, so it may not be here anymore. Yeah, so I have a tuner here. If I give it a minute to re-download itself, you can actually just go on the App Store and get one of these tuners. No. And you can see it looks something like this. So if I turn it on, you can see it's going to start finding notes like this. And depending on the pitch that it hears, it's going to give me a certain kind of frequency and it's going to show me a certain kind of note. So when you're sitting here with your instrument with a tuner, whether it's a clip-on tuner or whether it's a tuner on your phone, you're going to see a little dial that looks like this, and it's going to show you notes up at the top based on what it's hearing. If your instrument is in tune, you should get this dial right to the middle where it's supposed to be. You can see right here, this is the region that we're looking for. So if I play my instrument when it's in tune, when I play my G string, you're going to notice that the dial goes right to the middle for G. And you can see it's kind of wavering all over the place, and this is because this is on an old iPad that doesn't have a very good microphone. That's honestly one of the reasons I don't recommend doing the tuner on your phone. I do recommend that you actually get one of the clip-on tuners just because it's quite a bit more accurate. But if you are in tune and you have a good microphone, you should hear something that gets the note to where it's supposed to be. You can see it landed right around here, so that tells me I'm a little bit flat. When we are flat, we are too low. The pitch isn't quite high enough. And when we're sharp, we're too high. So if I sing a C, do, I'm kind of wavering all over the place. But if I'm in tune, it should line up right in the middle. If I go too high, you're going to see it's going to start wavering over here. Again, this is not a very good tuner. It's kind of bouncing all over the place. It normally won't do that if you have a proper tuner. And if I'm too low, too flat, it'll be in this region down here. So your goal is for each string, find the right note, G, C, E, and A, for each string, and get that dial right up to the middle where it's supposed to be, because that tells you that you're in tune. Okay, so we understand that idea. You can see once again that on this, on these tuners here, notice there is once again a dial. You can see this is right in the middle where you want to be. And if you're too flat, the dial will end up somewhere over here. And if you're too sharp, it may end up over here in this region. And your goal is to get it right in the middle. The note that you see is the note that it's picking up. Now, if you're super out of tune, you may actually see a different note altogether. If you see a completely different note, That's telling you that you're so far off that the tuner's actually reading a different note because it's hearing something different. On the piano, if I zoom in here, on the piano we have a bunch of different notes. The most common notes, the white keys, are C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. These are our notes on the piano, and this is what the tuner is reading. If you are trying to, let's just say you're trying to tune to a G, and your tuner, when you play a note, is reading, for example, an F, you're going to get confused because you're going to be like, wait, I thought this was supposed to be G. Well, it turns out that you're so flat in your note, your instrument is so out of tune that it's actually jumping down to the note below G, and that's what the tuner is reading. Remember, the tuner doesn't know what note you're playing, it only knows what it's hearing. So if you're super out of tune, it's going to read you a different note. If you do get an F or an E or maybe an A or a B, if you can remember this order of notes here, maybe you want to write this down somewhere, then you can always know where to go. If you're seeing an F, you know that you need to keep tuning up higher, get higher in the pitch, until eventually you start seeing that G again. If your tuner's reading an A, you know that you're too high, and you need to pitch down until you eventually start seeing that G again. Now there are notes in between the white keys called the black keys, and those include C sharp, D sharp, there is no E sharp, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B sharp, usually not written that way, no B sharp, we'll say. And it's very helpful actually to look at the piano. As a matter of fact, there is no black key between B and C, and there is no black key between E and F. So those are some exceptions. But you may notice a G with a little hashtag next to it, or you may notice a little lowercase b, that means flat, and the hashtag symbol means sharp. So if you see one of those, you're not actually at the G yet. You have to keep going down until you find G. And if you're seeing a flat, you need to keep going up until you get to the actual G. So there are notes in between. So just keep that in mind when you tune, because sometimes you may see a different note than what you're actually expecting to see, and that may throw you off. And if you keep tuning, like for example, let's say your tuner is reading an F, and you are trying to get to the G. If you don't know which way to go, I see this all the time. People keep tuning the wrong direction, and they just keep getting farther and farther away from where they're supposed to be. And then they're like, I need help, I'm super lost, please help me. And I come over, and they're like 8 notes off from where they're supposed to be because they went the wrong direction. So make sure that if you don't see your target note, that you refer back to this order of notes to know whether you're supposed to go up to find that note or whether you're supposed to go down to find that note. So don't go the wrong way, don't get lost.